What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Monday evening. Not a full view. I appreciate the bomb cage. It's not a full view. It's a fullish, newsish view, what we are going to be bringing you this evening. So I hope you're all doing well. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Big up to the panel this evening. Got Minna, Marcel, and KG with the plant.
The plant is growing. Can you lot hear me? Everyone good? You can hear me good?
We can hear you. We're good.
The plant is growing. The plant is doing what the plant needs to be doing.
Yes, that's what we'd like to hear. Anyway, guys, look, we've got a lot to talk about this evening. I think it's going to be a show that I'm really glad Marcel's here for. I feel like this might be his moment. He's had several moments since towards the end of the season with David De Gea. As you can probably see on the thumb, it says "time to go?" ? Okay, it's a big one we've got to get into this evening. So before we get into it, I just want to read you guys the latest developments when it pertains to David De Gea. We are going to be talking a little bit about Marcus Rashford as well today and his new contract that Fabrizio Romano has been talking about. So first, David De Gea. It's been reported by Samuel Lucas for the Manchester Evening News that Manchester United players are in the dark about David De Gea's future. Dressing room sources say United players are unsure if he will stay, but it continues, saying it is understood some figures at Manchester United want to move on from David De Gea. United sources admit a resolution over his future is not as positive as it was at the beginning of the month. But it gets even more intense from this, Marcel, because they have said, Samuel Lucas from the Manchester Evening News has said that Manchester United want to sign a new first-choice goalkeeper this summer. Figures at United have decided a new starting goalkeeper is essential. Now, before we get into targets or anything like that, Marcel, I'll start with you. Again, I wanted to give you this moment. How are you feeling when you hear that kind of news?
I think, if we're thinking about the trajectory that we want to go in, I think this was inevitable. Something like this had to happen. At some stage, our goalkeeper had to be looked at as one of the key choices to change if you want to start a different style of football. We had talked about Ten Hag coming in ages ago and it being a revolution and evolution of the style of football that we want to play at Manchester United Football Club. And this is one of the key elements of that. You cannot play a possession-based football high up into the opposition's half of the pitch with a manager that like Eric Ten Hag and have David De Gea as your goalkeeper. We've seen it in the Champions League final, Onana splitting defenses, ripping it through the lines with clean-cut, crisp passing, allowing his team to break through presses and play football. Same with Ederson. Ederson's been doing it for years now. So I'm just happy that everyone's got up to the speed of the style of football he wants to be managing with. Blackhurst is doing his thing and has obviously made it clear that it's clearly that it's Ten Hag because the deal was meant to be happening for David De Gea months ago. And the delusion that the club was following, the storyline that they were following is that we want this type of goalkeeper to bring us into the next era of football, and that would have been shooting us an Achilles in here already. We'd already have been ineffective of trying to enact the goalkeeper style of football. So we're in the right direction now. We're making those cutthroat decisions that, the short-term pain of having a new goalkeeper in the highest, most difficult position to play in the world football. But he needs that learning process. It's better you start him now, having the attributes and the foundational skills. It's better you start him now, because he needs the opportunity to play against Barcelona in big moments and Seville in big moments and against West Ham and against all these other teams where David De Gea is getting the opportunity, but clearly doesn't have the attributes to enact what we want. So very, very happy. Very, very happy with this process. I think you can clearly see all angles point towards it being Ten Hag the reason why this is stopping or the contract hasn't progressed thus far. But even if he does come and ends up thus signing for the club, we know what the reasons would be. It's financial, clearly. Ten Hag's got his hands tied behind the back in this transfer window. We still haven't seen any movement. And of course, once you've got the Glazers squeezing every single penny and deliberating on how much they want for the club, it's going to be a difficult time for Ten Hag to be able to get what he wants in the market, and he has to make sacrifices. One of them is put in the goalkeeper, which I've been saying for 2 years now or so should be number one on the list. Obviously, he has to put that further down the list because we're dying for a striker. We're dying for a striker. We're dying for. And we've even been ineffective in the market when it comes to Kim Min-jae. I'm seeing other clubs being ahead of that. So, the lack of funds being available is bleeding us dry in all over facets of the game. So we've got a problem where, the people that Ten Hag works for are being very incompetent, and it's spilling into decisions, small decisions like goalkeeping decisions, other important decisions like centre-back positions, and of course striker as well.
You mentioned that Kim Min-jae, and I'll open this up to everyone. How much do we believe that Man United were really in for Kim Min-jae? Open it up. Open for him.
I feel that was seriously in for Kim Min-jae. I think he was a player that it made a lot of sense. And you heard the links early, Man United, Fabrizio Romano keeping us just totally aware of what's going on with Kim Min-jae. For another team to jump in there, but this is typical Bayern Munich. They're good. When it comes to getting deals over the line, they're not like us. So I can see why. I think a lot of teams were probably looking at Kim Min-jae, and we were front of the queue. But then with a team like Bayern, they offered him a better proposal. They're a team that's saying, look, you're going to come here and start. You're going to go to Man United and compete. Can you dislodge Varane? I don't think you're dislodging Martinez, because what Kim Min-jae is right-sided centre-back. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so, and if I was talking to him, I'd tell him, listen, Ten Hag ain't playing someone like you on the left-hand side. He won't do it. He wants a left footer in that position, which puts him in a strong position, really. So I just think that we're losing out to that. We're losing out to that deal purely because of the team that's gone in there, and they're offering him a better proposition. Sorry.
But that's when I sort of go to how much were we in for him? Because when you do take a step back, obviously, look, he's got a release clause. He won Serie A Defender of the Year, so there's going to be suitors for him. But when you do sort of think about it maybe a little bit more, you do think about how much sense did that make, really? In terms of prioritizing positions, and I'll come to you, Minna, next. Like, you talk about striker, we know we're going for a midfielder, now a goalkeeper possibly. How high up would a centre-back even be in that priority list? And is maybe that why when they're not putting up as much of a fight for a Kim Min-jae if a Bayern Munich does come in for him?
I'd like to think a centre-back is quite important. I think, can you not hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Can I just say, by the way, before we go on the topic of centre-back, Marcel, you're a better person than me, because if I was talking about De Gea like you were the last 2 years, I would come on the stream and be like, I told you so. Every single one of you guys, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Marcel's so humble, yeah. This is why that's how you know he's got a good character. He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
I appreciate you.
I would have done complete opposite of what he just did right now. But I would like to think a centre-back is equally as important as a goalkeeper, as a striker. But I would say it's probably fourth on the priority list. I think a midfielder is quite important. I think a striker is as important. And I'd say
really fourth.
Yeah, I'd say a centre-back is... If we have Varane and we have Lindelof and we have Luke Shaw as our hybrid centre-back, I think we could risk maybe not having a centre-back this summer transfer window. If that means we get a ball-progressing midfielder, a sweeper keeper, and a goal poacher, and absolute number 9.
Sorry, I thought you said you thought getting a goalkeeper was fourth on the priority list. I was going to say, raw, damn.
Oh no! I think goalkeeper is, I'd say, number 3. Like, even with this whole David De Gea thing, and I remember saying it throughout the season. I was saying during the season, Ten Hag would never talk crap about his players in the press. So even when Flex was asking him questions about De Gea and he was praising him, he was always going to do that. But for some reason, I did still feel like maybe we might go for a goalkeeper. I mean, 50 million for Onana in comparison to 80, 90 million for Diogo Costa. That's a no-brainer. 50 million in this market for a goalkeeper. That's a no-brainer, especially...
But do you want him doing the Fabian Barthez special, though? Because I saw those highlights, yeah? And there's coming off your line, and there's coming off your line, and he's proper brave. Like, he wants to play football. He's like he wants to do the Trent Alexander-Arnold and move positions.
That kind of stuff, Premier League teams will capitalize on it big time. I mean, he had a whole fallout with his at the World Cup. He got sent home from the World Cup early because his manager didn't want him to be playing as a sweeper keeper, and he said, "F you, that's the way that I play football. That's how I'm going to play." And the manager sent him home before the last group stage match. Bear in mind, him and Ten Hag are familiar with each other.
Have they fallen out previously, though, man? I'm sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
Have Ten Hag and Onana fallen out previously? They have.
Yeah, I think they have.
I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? That whole fallout thing. I mean, the Ajax fair. We need to talk to the We Talk Ajax guys about it because they probably know better than us. But from what I gathered, it was he had the drugs test suspension, and I think during that period of time, wasn't it, that he agreed he was going to go to Inter Milan on a free transfer and something like that. And the way that happened, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if his falling out was specifically with Ten Hag or more with Ajax, like Overmars, Van der Sar, etc. I don't know. But you're saying the crazy stuff, KG. Yeah. Him running up the pitch and him doing all that kind of stuff. I agree with you. I don't necessarily want to see that much of it. Maybe that's just when he was doing it in the Eredivisie or something like that. I don't know. But don't you need that kind of personality, a little bit about you? If you're going to endure United, that pressure, you need that little bit of craziness.
It's impressive, but you got to think of how the media are going to look what they did with the Anthony spin and said it's disrespectful. If he tries to play out from the back, because there's playing out from the back, and that's what he's doing. He wants to do little skills and that, and they will be in on him. Aston Villa away, Everton away. Those games there, they're gonna try and capitalize. And it's gonna be the media headline. I can see already. Again, you can hear what they're gonna say, and they're gonna rinse him. If it goes wrong, that one time it goes wrong, they'll never stop talking about it.
I mean, we've got to take a step back, though, actually, talking about, signing. We're talking about Onana as if we've actually already signed him. Marcel, when it comes to actually signing players this summer, I mean, maybe that's what Ten Hag wants. But would you be shocked if we're hearing, I don't know, a week's time and they go, yeah, about De Gea leaving, he's staying?
No.
Of whatever's going on at the moment.
It's a really good question, Owen, because the incompetence is showing massively. We still can't get something done with the chairman situation. Like that's, it starts from the top and then works its way down, the improvement of the structure, the organization of the structure. So we're not going to get any moves on, we've been dragging our heels on Kim Min-jae, and all of a sudden Bayern Munich come in. I was getting excited about McAllister potentially coming in a couple months back, talks and something getting done. And then all of a sudden Liverpool get in for a fantastic price. So it's about what happens with the ball. If David De Gea is still in the club, I wouldn't even blame my manager. I can clearly see my manager wants to change him. Minna speaks to it very well. He speaks about every single one of his players immaculately and with a lot of respect. Even Cristiano Ronaldo got, I think, the fair due respect from Ten Hag in the public. So he always speaks well about his players. It's just, you can see from the actions, it's time for some of these players to go, but he can't move them on. He has to get his second choice players, his third choice players. Sorry, KG.
No, I'm just going to ask you guys, don't you think, though, the way that we say goodbye to our players, or the endings of players, is a bit disgusting? You're looking at what Liverpool did with Firmino on the pitch, and they kind of made it a special moment, a special time. David De Gea has committed so many years to this club. For the players to be in the dark and no one to know if he's coming or going, this is someone that's got a clean sheet record for Man United. It just feels like endings. Patrice Evra spoke about his ending as well. We consistently do this. This is the part where I'm like, we need to be ran better. Herrera's leaving was disgusting as well. This over and over again, we can't get this thing right. I think the only ending that we did decent was Juan Matters. If we're being correct, but I can't see us doing good endings. It's horrible, especially for great players. Rio Ferdinand said his ending was a bit weird as well, just how they spoke to him in the end. So we need to just get better, man. I hate
even
that.
Raphael said the same thing. The twins, what's his name? The Silver twins. Raphael said a similar thing under Van Gaal. He said his departure was sad, and even I remember Marouane Fellaini, and I'm bringing up Marouane Fellaini because I feel like a player similar to De Gea, he was scapegoated a lot at his time at Manchester United. And when a player doesn't complain, they do their job. Even if they make mistakes, they give 100%. You can't really, that's all you can ask from your players most of the time. And with David De Gea, I feel like it's the same. That's why the way that I see people rejoicing at the fact that De Gea could be leaving, I feel that kind of rubs me the wrong way. I can't lie.
But Ten Hag has. This is going to be a perfect send off for David De Gea, by the way. The fans are giving this speculation that what's happening within the club, he wants to stay within the club. Everyone respects him. No one disrespects him or anything. I think this would be a perfect send off for him. He's achieved great things this season, got the most appearances, clean sheets. Goodbye. You've done a maximum work that you could possibly do for the club thus far. You cannot progress the club any further in that said position. You have been a fantastic servant for the club. The last one to win the Premier League in goals. Since then, we haven't been able to develop further in goals, so that's an issue. But we're sorting it now. The club is more important than any footballer. You cannot name me one footballer that's more important than this football club, especially Manchester United Football Club. So he's done his service. He's done his dues. We've been very supportive of him. I have as well, me especially. Every single time he has a good performance in goal, I'm the first one to say it, guys. So he's been fantastic. It's time for him to move on.
But I think we have to just understand, and it's the culture of the club. We have to change that because, even I hate Sanchez, but he came and said, it's not good here. Ibrahimovic said he came and saw behind the curtain. He said, yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And again, Pogba said, and even take what Pogba said with a pinch of salt, but a lot of players saying the same thing. Jesse Lingard left and he thought, look how they said bye to me. Like I was here as a kid, and there's so many different players you can say that maybe the culture of this club is rotten in terms of just how you want to feel part of it. You want to feel part of something. Now we celebrate the guys that have won, but that needs to change because to attract other players and say, I want to be a part of that Man United family. I want to be part of this legacy. This is a reason to bring in big players. If you get what I'm saying,
I think what KG's talking about as well in terms of the exit, Marcel, is that whilst it might be a perfect end for him in terms of everything he's achieved in his career, and he's won everything apart from the Champions League, and as you mentioned, got the Golden Glove, it's more of the case of a decision on De Gea should have been made, let's say, 6 weeks ago, and we knew coming into the last few games of the season that it was his final games. They had a big send-off for him. He has a testimonial because he deserves one. He's been there over 10 years. I mean, even people like Roy Keane, who his time at United ended really frosty with Sir Alex. He fell out with him. They still did the testimonial. I saw a speech of it the other day. Roy Keane's thanking everyone. I don't know if he thanks Sir Alex. He thanked everyone for showing up and all that kind of stuff. But the point being is, KG's right, and we're terrible at people's endings at United because there's no planning, is there? There's no. For instance, the players that left Liverpool, like Firmino, like James Milner. A decision was made months prior to the end of the season that they were leaving, and their tenure was respected, their achievements were respected and celebrated by everyone. And it was like, right, they go out, De Gea, it feels like only in the last week or so, the decision's been made that maybe they look at other alternatives. I mean, towards the end of the season, they were saying De Gea's going to stay. They were going, contract's ready, the offer's ready, it's just waiting on Ten Hag's sign-off. And Ten Hag's been waiting there with a pen, I guess, for weeks and weeks going, really? Then he looks at the market and he goes, Onana's out there, Costa's out there, Ray is out there, and then he maybe thought, how much is De Gea willing to accept the pay cut? Ish. And they go, oh, not really. I'm not sure about that. And maybe that's why. I think that's where it comes from. Do you not think, Marcel? It's just a lack of planning.
Yeah, so 100% agree with you. Like to what I was saying before, it's from the top down. So obviously there's been incompetence, there's been lack of planning, overspending, poor money management, poor contract, giving with high contracts, low trophies. It's the whole mentality's been rotten. So I put it this way: when the Qataris come in, everyone will get a lovely send off. The club will be run properly. It will be wonderful because they've pledged $1 billion already to the future and the proliferation of the club. So I can tell you that now it will be very good once they come in. And it's clear and obvious to see that we won't get a good send off for David Gea. That's just an unfortunate process for a very good servant of the club. I can't word it any other way to you guys. It's an unfortunate situation for a great servant of the club, but it's surplus to requirements.
It's not a perfect ending then.
He is. It's a perfect ending for him. He's done. He
just said it's not.
No, it's very perfect for him. He's maximized exactly what he could have achieved this season for the club. He went out there, kept as many clean sheets as he could, lifted trophies for the club, and tried to push the club as far as he could to the next stage of the evolution and progression. He's done all the boxes, pack his bags, and get him to leave as soon as possible.
Marcel's cutthroat, Yeah. Keegan with the super chat says, congrats on your channel, Minna. I'm so tired of David De Gea slander. Bigger fish to fry, Don Roby. The transfer don't get going until the club sale is finalized. We'll talk about transfers in just a second. But yes, Minna's channel is actually in the video description. So if you want to subscribe, you can go find it in there. And Kyle says, David De Gea is a legend, but isn't relevant to our future. Just quickly on that, actually, open forum, because I've seen people disagree about this online. Is David De Gea a Manchester United legend?
Yes. Simple.
Marcel?
I want to say no comment just to be an idiot, but you know what? I'm going to say yes. Longevity, you have to respect longevity. You cannot put on that shirt year after year after year, still be, in my opinion, inadequate of the demands required, but still go out there every single season, put on the shirt and perform at times. And he's collected points for us. And he's one of the last to win the Premier League in our team. So yeah, I would definitely give him that. He's the legend status.
This is his
Mina,
whole.
would you say he's a legend?
I would say there's levels to legends. You got like the iOS 1, the iOS 2, the iOS 3, you know, like you got the Scholes and the Roy Keanes and the Ferdinand. I'd say it's like an iOS 2 legend.
I'd say he's a legend. I think if you break the clean sheet record at Manchester United, I mean, people can say that's just because he's been there a long time, which is fair, you know, because if you play that amount of games in goal, the expectation is you probably should break that clean sheet record, and he took a lot longer to do it than other people that set it, like Peter Schmeichel. But he's a legend.
He's a legend purely because we were rubbish, guys. You have to understand the bombardment after the Fergie era. He's been there, yeah, and he's been player of the season over and over again. Not because like other ones were like those other players he couldn't really judge. It's because he was getting peppered. Our goal was getting moved to. People like crap teams will come into Old Trafford for 3 points and he was keeping them out. Without him, we would have been in a dire strait. Yes, I know football's moved on, but we can't forget his impact on this team. He's an absolute legend for me. Absolutely.
And we need to also, I think, take a step back. I was talking to Flex about this on the phone today. You look at what Ten Hag's done in the last 12 months in terms of, we talk about moving people on. When he came in, his midfielders were Fred and McTominay. Now it's Casemiro and Eriksen. When he came in, Cristiano Ronaldo played up front. Cristiano Ronaldo ain't at the club anymore. When he came in, Maguire thing he's still working on, but Maguire don't play anymore. Like, let's face it, if Maguire stays this summer, his situation will be the same as it's been last season. He ain't playing. And now we could be looking at a situation where he's moving on David De Gea. Is that not like a lot of change and a lot of the gripes that people had about this Manchester United side?
He's our GOAT. He's our GOAT. He's the one. He's the manager to lift the Premier League title for Manchester United. He's the manager to lift the Champions League for Manchester United. He will do it. He's making those key changes. He can see the key changes. He's made the Old Trafford a fortress, man. We are so confident at home. We don't lose games at home. We draw if we have to. We come back. We take lead. We control games there. You know, so he's the GOAT, man. He's the master of all three styles of play. You know, and he will become the best manager for Manchester United. The
best manager?
Yes.
No.
Ever.
Yes, because, well, ever is like a time that is beyond our time. Ever is beyond our time, so I can't know. I won't know. He will be one of the greatest managers.
The best manager of your lifetime. So even with that then, so you're removing ever, but the best manager of your lifetime, you say he'll become.
That's cool. Well, not my lifetime. Right now, he'll be.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult, Marcel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's very challenging.
He's taking
doesn't help himself.
No, very challenging.
Bro, I can't believe that.
Marcel, man.
You guys always do this. Always happens. So we're just gonna keep this.
I mean, yeah, but for Ten Hag to surpass Sir Alex, we're gonna have to be doing United for you for a long time.
Oh, no, yes, we will be. But we will be. We will be. I don't think anytime soon.
Dead.
This usually happens.
Oh my god!
I'm sitting.
All right. New topic, man. Let's move.
Disgusting.
You know.
No, play the what do you call it? Play the judge. It's necklace.
Oh my god. You guys suck.
I was Marcel, man. But yeah, slightly moving on then, as KG has asked. Does it worry you? I'll go with you, Mina, here. It's been reported from the Daily Mail that the current budget means that if we are to look for a top goalkeeper to replace David De Gea this summer, it means, according to the Daily Mail, that Manchester United can't buy a top striker as well, particularly as they're looking also to commit over 50 million quid for Mason Mount. So My question is, have the priorities changed for Erik ten Hag this summer, do you think? Hence why De Gea might be leaving.
I don't know. I think maybe the priorities changed because of the number of goalkeepers available on the market. I think that's a factor to take in. You know, the fact that Inter Milan are willing to sell Onana. We're not the only people that would be in for him either. I know Chelsea's looking at him because they need a new goalkeeper. I just feel like right now the market is attractive towards goalkeepers. A season or two ago, not so much. So I think the priorities are still there. 50 million for Mason Mount. If we can get him for 50, okay, cool. But if it's anything above that, I personally wouldn't. It doesn't matter whether I'm happy with it or not because I don't think Ten Hag cares. But I wouldn't be happy with it. I don't think Mason Mount is a 50 million plus player for us to go after. And I'm also curious to know how he improves the issues that we have in midfield. I'm not fond of him, to be honest. I don't, even in the England team, I don't think he's that appealing or his qualities and attributes are as amazing as a lot of people make it out to be. But I think English tax is real. 50 million. I feel like with that 50 million, we could definitely get a better midfielder in the market. But it's just about what Ten Hag likes, and maybe he's attracted to Mason Mount for whatever reason.
By the way, can I just say, like, Cam's in the chat. Cam's crazy, yeah, because he goes, "It's not about goalies available. I'd put Marcel in the next year if he gets rid of." He's not even referring to De Gea by name, just Spanish flag. That's all.
Marcel is saying that he'd be better. Don't you remember Marcel said he would be better in goal than David De Gea this season?
Marcel can't fit the goal.
You have to put a trampoline on the line for you to be in goal.
KG, I cover near post, bro. I swear to God, I cover near post. I will try my best to come for corners. I can throw from the hands. Bro. You see my throw from hands? Very good. From the feet as well. Counter-attacks. I can start counter-attacks better, bro. They might chip me about in every 4 games. I might get chipped. But, bro, the counter-attacks are mad. Rashford's going to be scoring goals.
Oh, my God!
Playing from the hands. Playing from feet. You see how Ten Hag had to bring the 2 centre-backs close to the hair all the time and doing all that nonsense. I can do long kicks, bro. Okay. So, you can pay me less as well. You can pay me just 100k a week.
I know Marcel's that guy that comes to five-a-side in a full Man United kit, shin pads, socks, everything, and then he's just standing there waiting to get put on a team. That's Marcel.
Marcel, you're 5'5". You're not coming for nothing.
He said he's out jumping all these defenders that are 6'2", 6'3", when they got a whole foot on him.
The hand of God is real, man. The hand of God. You don't know about Maradona and the hand of God.
I don't believe in the hand of God.
You're allowed to use your hands, bro. This is the problem now. Wait, hold on. I can't.
He said with a straight face when Cam said that, he went, "I cover near post." Marcel, you don't even cover half the post, man. Have you seen the size of it?
No, but if they're doing but I can jump and touch the bar. Is that
what you're gonna do every time? Jump and touch the bar?
So good De Gea.
I'm gonna have to accept that, man. I'll get lobbed at least twice every 4 games or something silly.
But now it's twice every 4 games. Once every 4 games.
I can cover the post. I can cover the post.
No, I can't. All right, you know what?
I'll get lobbed twice every 4 games. It's so specific.
Look, the wingspan of 6'8".
You're getting lobbed 50% of the season.
I'm conceding less goals. I know I'm conceding less goals.
You're getting lobbed.
I'm conceding less goals and I'm putting up more assists.
Guess what? He can play out from the back, though.
Huh?
Right, he can play out from the back.
Exactly.
I'm done. Let's onto more serious things. You know what I was thinking? Yeah, I was wondering. Do you think Man United? Yeah, they're trying to get some of this cheap business done before Qatar comes in. Do you reckon this is one of their, like, I don't know, because you know the price goes up with Man United no matter what. Even now, when we ain't got no money, people are giving us incredible amounts in terms of. Do you think they're trying to get some of the cheeky deals done early in terms of getting them negotiations, and that's why we're not hearing nothing about the takeover? I don't know. Just wanted to.
No, I don't think so. I think across the board, Manchester United are donuts when it comes to transfer season. Because we talk about the way that like Rashford's contract thing has been going on all season. Lisandro Martinez was meant to be getting a renewal or extension. That's been happening all season. Diogo Dalot's one took about 6.5 months. David De Gea's one still the only person they've actually announced to be leaving is Phil Jones and Axel Tuanzebe. They are lending their resources to the women's team because the women's team are having issues with, sorting out their contract renewals, and they're losing players as well. And I feel like a lot of it is hindering on this takeover thing because there's so much uncertainty in the air. Like if Qatar come in, that you have an opportunity of having a certain budget. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe come in, that there's a window of a certain budget, so you don't really know what you're working with at the moment. I feel like Ten Hag is just, what's it called, he's blind and he's just going like this. He don't know what he's doing. He's just trying to work with the best that he got.
I tell you what, KG, I think there might be something in it, in the sense of, like you said, they're trying to do everything they can up to the point of actually signing it off and completing the deal, because maybe they can't, but that's not sustainable. Surely they can't do that. I mean, we're bad enough doing deals like, getting rid of people and bringing people in when the club isn't getting sold, let alone when it is. I mean, if that is the case, Marcel, then are we going to make it? Are we going to make any signings then by that point?
It's worrying, but I think we will. I'm still a heavy believer in the Qataris are coming in. It's just they're deliberating over this 6 billion, 5.2 billion, 5.5 billion, whatever it's going to end up being. But I still believe the Qataris will come in. It's just you miss out on so much of the crucial business done before the preseason starts, before other clubs can go into the market. That's the kind of issue that we're facing here. You're missing some of the top quality players that you could get now. If you do the business early and give the money early, you get Kim Min-jae through the door. If we had more money available to us, it's Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen that you get brought in if you're being early in the market. And these are high quality players that maybe put you further in the process. But Ten Hag's got to do the juggling act with the board above him, and then the board have the Glazers to talk to. And that system, that economy of interest is not really economy. And because of that, we're here and we're in an issue. I just think to get the players that Ten Hag wants. Get the players that Ten Hag wants. And one of them, I know Minna said 50 million, 60 million is maybe too much for Mason Mount, but I would pay 70. Because I know...
Get this guy off, please. Owen. Get him off. Marcel.
Can I please finish?
Yeah, nah.
At any cost, you have to get once it's a player that we know 100% certain it's what Ten Hag wants. It's similar to the Frankie de Jong situation. You must bring this player in. It's the quality and the attributes that Ten Hag wants, and I think the Qataris will guarantee that it comes.
Someone said Marcel needs to be sold to a Saudi fan channel.
Wait, it is what it is. You guys, all I'm going to say is this happens. All I'm going to say to you lot now, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'll be humble about it when it comes back around. But this happens. You guys do this all the time. You get onto me when I have the clear, concise, very precise prediction on what's going to happen, and it happens, and then you guys get onto me. And then you get onto me now, and then you're like, sorry, after, and I'm just like, come on, guys, I knew it.
All right, can I say something quickly, just to let you guys know? Osimhen signed a new contract, by the way. Fabrizio Romano just said he signed a 2-year. He's extended his deal for 2 years. Now that could be a good thing. That could be something like they know a big bid's coming in, and they're just trying to protect themselves to get top dollar for him. But yeah, he's extended his contract. I'm not going to play any.
Did they have a release clause? Did they put a release clause in it?
It just says we've an agreement in principle with Victor Osimhen to extend his contract for 2 more years in case an exorbitant there you go, bid is impossible to reject arrives, we will see and make the best decision for the club. So they're saying unless, basically, to be fair, they're not saying that he's not available for sale. They're sort of saying if you want to get him, you're going to have to pay big.
It's crazy because Mbappe has a 150, I think, price tag. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his contract, but I can imagine them saying 130 for Osimhen and 140.
They just protected themselves. And that's, you know what? That's good business. And this is the thing. Someone in the chat in the free seats said we should do the super chats. Actually, someone in the free seats said Russo is leaving for free. So across the board, we just run like a joke. We're a joke of a club, right, in terms of how we run this thing. There's no strategy. But yeah, the floor's yours.
Super chats. Ahmed with a big contribution says, Marcel, you are obsessed with David De Gea and it's baffling why. I can't take you seriously when you do not nearly criticize Maguire as much and only focus on David De Gea. Yes, we need a good new goalkeeper, but the slander is disrespectful. And I think that was even before, Mason Mount, I'd spend 70 million on it.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Ahmed. I'm very sorry, if that's how you feel about this. But I've also spoken on Maguire before. And I think it's almost too obvious to even condemn Maguire as much as we have already. I've already done that heavily last season, and I think and when it's so obvious to the structure and the success of our club that he must go as a captain, as an overall footballer and footballing ability, Ahmed, I think that's obvious. I don't even think that needs time and energy spoken on. The David De Gea situation, which I've admitted he's a legend, I always praise when he has good games. It's something that is split the fan base massively throughout the last season and a half or so. Especially towards the end of this season, it's been more conclusive that he needs to go. But of 6 months prior and before, it's been heavily debated. He should stay, he should go. Whereas Maguire, we all knew he wasn't a captain, especially after the end of Solskjaer's season. And as soon as Ronaldo came in and Bruno started to really perform as a player off the field, we could clearly see he was no good. So I think that was self-explanatory.
Marcel proper went, I'm sorry you feel that way, instead of apologising as well. I'm sorry for that. Sati, some good, some bad. Marcel is a visionary beyond our years. Keegan says, Marcel and Cam on crackhead settings. Get out of here. Vicky says, can it be that David De Gea has lost the confidence to stay? Basically suggesting that maybe De Gea has decided that he's had enough. V33 says, Altans wins, unveils Mbappe at press conference. Imagine that mic drop. AG.
Oh,
have you got anything to say about the potential about your purchase of United? Mbappe's coming. Splashnet's been a member for 3 months, says expected lobs on Warsaw. Lucas Chan's been a member for 11 months, says Warsaw. Oh, it's just lots of Marcel emojis. Got a better jump. Warsaw's got a better jump than Marcel. Martinez looking like a 6-foot centre back next to Marcel the crackhead. Come to you as well. Speaking of how the club is run, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. Marcus Rashford, it looks like he's going to be signing a new long-term deal at Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano tweeted this afternoon, an exclusive, saying, hello guys, Manchester United are on the verge of reaching an agreement with Marcus Rashford over a new long-term deal. He's set to accept the proposal. Negotiations at the final stages. Rashford is very happy with Erik ten Hag. Final details to be sorted. Here we go soon. Now, we don't know the actual full details on this contract in terms of the wage or anything like that. It's been reported by some sort of lesser outlet, shall we say, The Sun, The Mirror, Gross, but they're saying that £375,000 a week is the reported number that Rashford may agree to. I'll go around everyone to get their thoughts because I said my thoughts on it earlier. Minna, I'll start with you. 375k a week for Rashford. What are your thoughts on that?
I need to know if it's 375 base or is that 375 with a bunch of different achievements. So like if he gets 20 Premier League goals, he gets, I don't know, 300,000 at the end of the season, etc. Because I remember seeing something similar for Haaland's contract and how it broke down, and in the year he makes around 800k a week if he meets all his targets, his goals targets, if the club at the end of the season reach their targets, etc. Now we've set about bad precedent for ourselves where we gave Jadon Sancho 350. This guy just bagged how many goals for us last season? Is he worth 375 a week? Absolutely not. I would not be happy with them paying that, especially when we complain about the wage structure. But they are obviously trying to tie down one of the most talented, I wouldn't say youngsters, but one of the most talented 25-year-olds English players that we have in the league. If that, alongside giving him players that he can work with and operate with in that front line, we could continue to see that 30 goals every season coming out. But I don't agree with it, and I need to know if it's 375 per week base salary, or is it, maybe, because I think he's on 200 right now. He's on 200 right now. So is it maybe 275 a week and then 100k in a bunch of different bonuses which he might not achieve. I remember flipping Martial has a Ballon d'Or clause in his contract. So I need to know if that's the case. But 375 a week base salary, absolutely not. But I wouldn't be surprised if his brothers Dwayne Rashford went into a meeting with the Arnold and Murtog and whatnot and said, if Sancho's on 350, we should be on this much. I wouldn't be surprised.
KG, what do you think? 375, is that good enough for Rashi, or are you concerned that United making the same mistakes again? Look, De Gea's leaving, possibly. He's on 375, replaced with Rashford, suddenly on 375. What are your thoughts?
I think the papers know what to do to try and get Man United fans knickers in a twist. And this is one of those stories. I think there's something came out before when they said Rashford's turning down some big money again. There's no real, they don't know how much the contract is. And it's just something for us to get upset about, because we will get mad about someone getting more than free something. But you want to secure your like prime players. Your best players need to stay at the club. And then if they are going to leave, you need to sell them on for good value. Now, this is all I see this is protecting the asset. End of the day, I don't want to see another world-class player, or even if you don't call him world-class, but high-quality player going out for free. And that's the problem with Man United. We need to get better at doing our deals, because some of these deals are running down way too soon. You know, someone like Rashford should be secure. Now, is it a shame that our wage budget's all over the place? Well, it didn't just start with Rashford. End of the day, like David De Gea, as the sign, has been on a stupid fee, you know, and I know our manager's trying to fix that. But when you do have players like Sancho walking around on 350 and he hasn't done close to what Rashford's done for this club, I will look at that and say, well, guys, I'm your main player. At the moment, this is the main player at Man United. Like or not, him and Bruno are the biggest or best players at the club. They have to get rewarded for that. Simple as that.
It's just that partner's on his shoulder.
Isn't it? It just won't go. I can't move forward, but it's just a part.
It's proper got. It's like, you know, it's like that. It's like the hand on the shoulder.
Right,
mate. But does it not worry you though with the Rashford thing? And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, is that it's going to have knock-on effects. So we're not getting Harry Kane this summer, okay? Next summer, though, he's probably going to leave Spurs, free contract. Wouldn't Harry Kane look at all of the players at Manchester United or his agents, his representatives, and go, I'm better than all of them? And who's your highest paid player? Marcus Rashford, 375, right? I want 400. Or I want 450. And then also, when you talk about negotiating these contracts, does it make it difficult? Because some players might look at a Rashford and go, well, if he's on 375, I'm not going to get exactly what Rashford's on, but I want to get a little bit higher. Does it just not make it more difficult? And he had a great season, don't get me wrong, but did he have a good entirety of the season, or did he have a good 6 months of the season?
We have to be fair. Again, Rashford's output this season has been fantastic. You know, I was saying early in the beginning of the season, guys, we need to offer him a new contract as soon as possible. I don't even remember when even like was like 4 or 5 games in, I said, sign him up. Don't let it get to this point. But Man United, typical, they waited, and Rashford became just the hottest thing in football. And now this is what's happened. It was early, and everyone in the chat was like, nah, don't sign him yet. This, that, and the other. We need to see what he's. Well, this was coming. Ten Hag put his arm around this kid and said, you're my main guy. And he got his reward, and now we're behind the 8 ball on this negotiation. And again, Man United keep finding themselves in situations when they're slow to it. Now, is a player going to come in and deliver more than Marcus Rashford? I tend to doubt it. You know, like what players can really say, is anyone in this Man United team right now that can say they had a better season than Rashford?
Not this season, but that's the point, isn't it? Is that it's this season. And you would say for 375k a week, I want you to be having the kind of season that Rashford had, one for the entirety of the season and for the remainder of his contract. That's the kind of level he's talking about. Because let's be honest too, end of the season, last 2 months, was Marcus Rashford a really influential player for us?
Nah, you weren't. But then again, his import for this team was huge. We couldn't
I don't overlook that.
He got injured, and we moved him all over the place. Rashford didn't have no. He was playing on the left-hand side, and that's where he's the most dangerous. And because of the limitations of the strikers, we had to force him up there and say, play there, probably with an injury, but he gave his all for the team. And I think, I don't think he's the big problem. I think a player like him, you want to secure, because he could walk out. We could see him go somewhere else on a free. We'll all be crying again. Here's what it is.
It also
Marcel,
sets
what do you think?
I was going to say,
go on,
sorry,
man.
it sets an interesting thing for any academy kid coming from Carrington wanting to make it to the first team. I was talking about this with KG. I think it was last week when I was saying to KG that bar Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood, I can't really think of any academy kid that has had the opportunity to flourish in the first team. I remember there's so many James Garner, right this season, Zidane Iqbal, Andre Gomez. There's so many young kids that had promise, that had talent, that came from the academy and never really got that chance. You look at the academy kids now, Manchester United's academy is quite far behind in comparison to Manchester City, Chelsea, etc. They'll probably look at Marcus Rashford and think, okay, well, if he can do it, there's no reason that I can't. Bear in mind, Rashford only got his chance because of a last-minute injury to Martial. If that never happened, it's like, how would his career have turned out? And it also is not. It's not like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's also a good thing for maybe the academy kids to use it as motivation. But still, 375, I don't agree with that.
Marcel, what do you think about possibly 375 and just tying down Rashi to a long-term deal?
Well, it depends how we look at it. Obviously, 375 is a lot of money, but this speaks more to the Ed Woodwardness, which is, behaving like anything to do with Ed Woodward, which is, overpaying players, paying players high wages when they haven't really achieved anything, and giving them contracts based on marketability and not performance, because obviously he's not a footballing man, so he wouldn't know the difference. So this comes more into that vein, and because of that, you've got to structure once you make a deal for a player, it affects your future deals. Other players are going to be looking at that saying, well, hey, this is not the right price that I'm getting because he's on more, and this most probably does us a good service in disguise, in the sense that Marcus Rashford had his best season. That's the benchmark now. If you want more than 375, go and produce a Rashford season, my friend. Especially in terms of the forward line. And then this, for me, this maybe is the end of Sancho. You can't keep playing a player that's going to be less productive than Rashford on just a bit more than wages than him. So for me, Rashford, a lot of people want to give him one more season. I think everyone's seen that. I've articulated it before. He doesn't deserve another season. He should be gone immediately for anything as low as 45 to 50 million. But, at the end of the day, he's still going to be here on astronomical wages and no trophies, an Ed Woodward characteristic. But, we'll see next season how long he survives. He has to be able to patrol and produce Rashford numbers. Otherwise, Sancho will be going out the door, because there's another player now that we're going to be expecting the exact same replica season plus more from Rashi. If Sancho doesn't hit those levels, then he must go immediately. But this is a good thing. Mo Salah gets this kind of wage. The best players in the league get this kind of wage. So Rashford has to now produce that kind of high-level season next season.
I mean, look, I don't disagree with, like I said earlier on, I think it's a good thing to tie down your best players. Totally agree with what KG's saying. And I'm happy that Rashford's got a new contract and he was our player of the season. And without his goals this season, we wouldn't have finished third and we wouldn't have won a Carabao Cup and we wouldn't have got to an FA Cup final. That was Marcus Rashford played a big part in that. It's just the number. It's just the number, I think, is just really high. And then when I do take a step back and I look at the season he had and the way that he ended the season, I could just, when you can just picture something, or the conversations like on here that we're going to be having next season, at some point next season, we're going to be going, Rashford 375 with some of these performances. I don't know, man. I don't know.
We did that with Bruno. When Bruno got his new contract, people were like, it wasn't worth it. Why did we give him the contract so soon? And I don't think we, as fans, we're going to find something that we're going to complain about. But I'm telling you, it'll be even worse if Rashford walked out on a free. Okay, let's just play this game of what if. Okay, so we don't sign Rashford. Rashford says he wants 375. He says he wants 350. We say no. Rashford's only got a year on this. What do we do? Do you now say we got to sell Rashford on the cheap? This is the position that we put. Because how long does he have? Like a year and a bit left?
Even like Bruno, even Bruno's new contract, according to The Athletic, is 240k a week. That's still miles off Rashford's.
But I don't know. We don't know it's 375 is what I'm saying.
We don't. That is a good point.
They did it before. Let's not forget. And he came out and said lies. Like, you lot keep doing this to make our players look a certain way. They could be trying to fix the wage structure in terms of, if they said to David De Gea, hey, you're not getting this anymore, we're changing that. There must be something they're trying to do in terms of changing the prices that players are getting paid. You know, so we don't know if this is true. The Sun have put this out for reaction, and they know Man United fans will get really upset with a player getting a certain wage, and he tried to get in front of it to tell us. They've gone back around again. We do not know what the truth is until we see the contract that says he's absolutely getting paid this. It's hearsay.
What would you want it to be then? Considering that Bruno's on 240 and he's already on 200, Rashford, what would you want it to be then? If you're saying we don't know what it is, and we don't, that's a good point. But what would you like it to be?
I'd accept a 300. I would accept a 300. 5 years.
What would you like to be?
350, 325. Try and get that. Well, Sancho would be leaving. Whatever it's once it's over 3, it's Sancho's leaving because he's not going to be able to keep up with the production that Rashford's going to be producing. So once you get it into that 3 mark, you're asking for a top level forward, and I would be happy to give Rashi, if he replicates the season again, 350, 325.
Mina, what do you say? What do you think is a fair number for Marcus Rashford?
I said 275 with a bunch of add-ons. 30 goals a season, depending on where we finish, number of trophies, number of assists, number of appearances in the season. Because bear in mind, if we are going, for example, if we're signing a striker and we've got Anthony, we've got Sancho, we've got Pellistri, we've got Garnacho, we've got Amad Diallo, Rashford has to compete to keep his spot. So if he can keep his spot on that left-hand side, and, you know, so we say 50 appearances minimum in the season, 30 goals across all competitions, 15 assists, whatever, then I would be happy with all of that as add-ons. But 275 for me is the limit. Like, even 250, I would be like, I'm happy with that, because I feel like it sets a bad precedent. Marcel said that, you know, any striker or anyone in the front line that comes in has to perform as like Rashford did this season to warrant getting a contract like 375k. Then what we're going to do, we're going to have our entire front line on 400k, 450, 500. Suddenly everyone's going to want to come to Manchester United, score 25 goals all competitions, so then they can get a big payout at the end of it. I think that sets a very bad precedent. I think the most experienced and most achieved players should be on big contracts. You know, Casemiro, Varane, they're our highest earners, of course, because they've come in. Sancho, one of our highest earners, because he came in a transfer window. I feel like when Martinez and Anthony came in, the ship was starting to be settled a bit more in terms of our wage structure. So if they came one season earlier, I think they would be in that list of top earners as well. I feel like they would be earning 300, 350, etc. I just feel like it sets a bad precedent, you know. And we complain about Jadon Sancho. We gave him 300k. We complain about giving Sancho 300k at a young age. What are we going to do now if Rashford has a fall off next season where he's not performing that well? What if he's, you know, struggling with injury that we saw in the last 3-4 months of the season at the Barcelona game onwards? He was struggling with injury. What happens then? What do we do then? We've now paid him 300, 350k, and we're just going to be sitting on our butts complaining about, you know, it's a Sancho 2.0 situation.
He's not going to have a drop off. He's not going to have a drop off.
I'm saying it's possible. It's possible. Bear in mind, do you guys remember the season that everybody wanted him out?
That was last season.
Not this season that just passed. The season before that, everyone wanted him out. And that was all because the season before that, he was playing with a long-term injury that he did not get sorted out. Now he's got this knock that he picked up. No one can say to me the last 4 months Rashford has been playing like how he's been playing, you know, the first 6 months of the season, because he hasn't been playing like that. What if that has a knockoff effect? Now he's also broken up with his girlfriend. He's broken up with his fiance as well.
That's the girl. We need her in his life.
We need her back. Someone go DM her and tell her to get back with him.
We need her. The form and her is, if there's something going on there, it's suspicious for me anyway. Look, guys, I'm saying that this manager and Rashford, they do have an understanding. And it's good when you have players that he knows what you have to give for the manager. And if Rashford makes the correct runs, plays in his correct position, I want him out on the left. Rashford, yes, he can do all right as a striker, but we've seen it. As a striker, he doesn't really he doesn't go up for the ball. He's cool with his back to goal, but he's not the best. We need him in his position. What we've done so many times last season was move players. Like we had Weghorst in the 10, and there was a lot of people here that were saying Weghorst is a better number 10. Where are those people that were saying that? Because I remember that. I'll never forget that. where course be better in the 10. All you lot sit down, bro, because that was disgusting. And shame on you lot. And they will never admit who they were as well. There was quite a few people. Yeah, you know who you are. Know exactly who you are. But I'm saying put these guys in their position, you will see the best of them. Rashford out on the left, that's his position. Bruno in the 10, that's his position. New striker, whoever you are, that's your position, bro. Sancho, Martial, if a Saudi bid comes in, why doesn't no one from Saudi want Martial as well?
Good question.
Because they've got links to Chelsea, isn't it? That's like the big thing today, isn't it? That potentially the Saudi PIF might have like links to their own investor in Clear Lake Capital.
Yeah, they own 60% of Clear Lake Capital, who are the investment venture that own Chelsea. I don't think the Saudis want Martial because he's not going to bring in fans. I mean this in a nice way. He's not going to bring in fans to watch Saudi football in Saudi Arabia. And trust me, I've been to the Middle East many times before. I've never heard someone say Martial is my favorite footballer. I've never heard anyone say that.
But you've heard him say that Koulibaly is my favorite footballer.
He's Muslim, so they like.
That's true.
Yeah, some realness.
They're familiar. Sadly, they're familiar with Muslim players. They're familiar with Mendy. They're familiar with Koulibaly, Kante, Ziyech. They're familiar with them.
Yeah. Let me get these super chats out and then we'll wrap things up. Kyle says, Eric Ten Hag's transfers have been good. I don't want Mount for 70 million, but if we know we ain't winning the Premier League, but Mount moves us closer, what's the issue? Basically, Kyle, I guess, siding a bit with Marcel there, saying 70 million, pay what it takes. V33 says, pay him 375 HKD. He only turned up for 3/4 of the season. And I think there might have been some members' chats here as well. Let me get these out too. Rafa's been a member for 12 months. Says, much love, UV fam. Marcel, you are suspect. Digging out Sancho when he and Anthony had the same season. Look at the stats. Marcel, any retorts?
Now, Anthony's first season scored big goals against big teams this season. I think Sancho scored an important goal against Liverpool as well. And last season, an important goal against City as well, away from home. But Anthony's more. We can see his effect in the team in terms of the structure, the style of play, how important he's very important to that right side. Where Sancho's still trying to find his feet, and he ran away from the club for a few games or for a period of time last season. I think Anthony for his first season's coming quite strong, compared to Sancho's first season. Then put it that way.
Lil Yo says, so you're saying Martial FC won't turn out and fight hard for Martial in Saudi? When the Saudi PIF's going, no, we don't want him. Sorry.
I know they're interested in De Gea though.
They are interested. Man. They don't even want him, bro. That's mad.
They offered him 70 million, I think, for 3 years.
Take it.
Anyway, guys, look, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the EV's members club as well. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. We're going to be back live tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. KG's on the morning shift with me tomorrow. So he's going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to bring the plant with you?
No, I'll be home. So just drop off my door.
Anyway, yeah. Rather. Peace.